Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then, the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and let's just get into this weird news. So, around the time that I am recording this, it is December. It is holiday season, and nobody knows holiday season more than this granddad named Stan Yanetta, who lives in South Shields in the UK. Now this guy, Stan, he's always kind of done these huge Christmas things for his grandkids, right? Always huge things, dressing up like Santa Claus, doing all sorts of stuff. But this has become a huge phenomenon in his neighborhood. He's gone from just celebrating with his family to celebrating with hundreds of thousands of people in the UK. He takes his entire neighborhood and turns it into basically this huge Christmas attraction at his home. And he welcomes all visitors from everywhere in the UK. It's crazy because he has no idea how many decorations he even has, which is insane and kind of tells you the scale of this whole thing that he's got going on. And it took him 3 days alone to sort out the plug sockets. 3 whole days just to sort out the plug sockets. Now, he takes 3 weeks to create this entire exhibit. 3 whole weeks. And he estimates that he has to pay at least like £15 a day to run the entire thing until Christmas. And that's every single night from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., which is totally crazy. He dresses up like Santa for pictures, and he hands out gifts to every single kid. Every single kid. This guy is just dressing up like Santa Claus, making his entire neighborhood into this crazy winter wonderland. And he still hands out presents to every single kid. That's crazy. This is like mall Santa times 1,000. I mean, most people have been to a mall Santa. You wait in line forever. There's screaming children, parents who are getting their kids all gussied up, and then you sit on a guy's lap with a beard and you tell them what you want for Christmas, and then you cry while they take the pictures. At least that's how mine and my sisters usually went. But this guy takes it to a whole nother level. Stan takes it to another complete level for this attraction. Now, he's not even just doing this solely for doing it, but he collects money. When he does everything, he's collecting money, but he's doing it for the Royal Victoria Infirmary? That's a word I am not used to saying. In Newcastle for children with cancer. So not only is this guy just making every single UK kid's dream Christmas, he's also donating all this money that he's getting from this to more children who have cancer. Like, this guy he goes above and beyond. I definitely recommend going in and into the internet and looking up what he does, and it's so crazy when you see these pictures, because you see him standing up there and he's got this huge display with so many different Christmas lights. He says it took him 3 days to figure out the sockets, it probably would have taken me like a week. Probably a whole entire week to figure out these sockets. Like with the amount of decorations that he has and how he just turns this place into a winter wonderland. He also kind of talked to a few news outlets saying that this year he got a snow machine to make it even extra special for the kids. So when they go and sit on his lap, somebody will activate the snow machine, and basically it's a winter wonderland while they're getting gifts from Saint Nick. Isn't that insane? This guy is a legend. This guy is amazing. He's just making the best Christmas for all these kids and taking basically nothing in return. This guy is amazing. I wish all mall Santas were like this. I remember going to mall Santas like every year with my sister. We would go and my mom gets us all nice and dressed up. We've got a specific outfit we gotta wear when we go see Santa. And my sister, for the first few years, always cried and screamed because Santa was way too scary for her. I have a lot of pictures with the two of us, and she's just full-blown tears in her eyes, like bawling, and my mom has to be in some of those photos because she just could not do it. And then as we got older, things got better, but I definitely have one where I've got a scrape straight up and down my face because I had fallen earlier that day, and then it was like, oh, it's time to go take pictures with Santa, and here I am with this giant scrape on my face with Santa who's looking at me like I'm freaking crazy. I wish all mall Santas were like this, because the experience you have when going to a mall Santa is, even as a kid, it's sort of lackluster, because you're just one of a million kids standing in this line in the middle of a mall, just kind of waiting to sit on Santa's lap and tell him what you want, and most of the time it's kind of a little unrealistic and you don't get it. You know, where this guy is taking these kids on this amazing winter wonderland extravaganza, basically, and giving them gifts and taking nothing in return, and anything that he does take is for other children. Like, I aspire to be like Stan. This is insane. He's 58 years old and he spent 3 whole weeks getting ready for this. Like, I am just floored with this weird story. This is the kind of thing that you see in a Christmas movie. This is not the kind of thing that comes out in real life. And I really, really applaud Stan Yanetta. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right at all, but I really applaud him on what he's doing, because this is crazy. I really wish that I could do something like this, but I'm also like kind of really lazy, and like I said earlier, it would take me like a week just to figure out the plugs. So I will leave the crazy Christmas experience to him. But what I did see when I looked up this story, and I saw this and I went to go look at the pictures, that there are people that are replying to him that are doing the same thing all over the world. They are inspired by Stan to take this kind of crazy winter wonderland fantasy for children and make it for people. There's someone in South Africa that are doing it. There's some people in America that are doing it. Like, I really, really applaud Stan for just making this huge, almost global thing possible. It's, oh my gosh, it's crazy. I mean, as a kid, I was always about holidays. Like, my family goes crazy on like every holiday. Halloween, Christmas, Easter, Day of the Dead. Like, all these holidays were always huge for us to celebrate and just kind of be together as like a family. And so when I see stuff like this, it really warms my heart to be able to, you know, for somebody to be able to give these kids something that they, you know, they might not have at home, or, you know, something that they think about in their minds and can't really see in reality. So the fact that there is a Santa and he's in the UK, and he's giving gifts to kids who show up, and a whole winter wonderland fantasy, I tip my invisible hat to you, sir. I tip my hat to you, because you are amazing. Now let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to the weird news in just a quick second.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
And we're back with our GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, sticking with our Christmas theme, let's move on to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga, Tennessee has this Christmas tree, and their Christmas tree is at their aquarium. And all the lights on the Christmas tree are 100% powered by eel. Isn't that insane? Eel. And when I'm saying eel, I'm not talking about like one or like a whole tub full of eels. I'm talking about one singular eel. One eel powering this entire Christmas tree. And his name is Miguel Watson, which is like the punniest name ever. The greatest name ever. I mean, come on. Miguel Watson. Get it? Watson? Okay. It's a bad joke. But Watson powers this Christmas tree in different ways. So it's not constantly lit. When he powers it in different ways depending on what he's doing. So when he's hunting or he's hungry, trying to find food, that kind of thing, it kind of releases this low voltage blip. And the low voltage blip translates to this like rapid dim blinking on the Christmas tree. So like the lights are kind of dim and blinking when he's hungry or when he's looking for food, that kind of thing. But when he's eating, it causes like these bigger flashes, these huge big flashes on the Christmas tree. So it's not constantly in one glow or one blinking. It's doing different things depending on how Miguel or what Miguel is doing, which is crazy. I mean, come on. One eel powering an entire Christmas tree based on his emotions. It's always different when you're there. I mean, if you're in the Chattanooga area, seriously, go check this out. I am not in the Chattanooga area, but I wish I was, because I would kill to see this. I would. And if you're not either, you can look it up online, because it is crazy to see. It's totally different. It's not harmful to Miguel whatsoever. Just putting that out there. It's not harmful to him at all. But it's kind of just nuts to think that he's doing all of this. On top of the fact that he is lighting the Christmas tree for Christmas, he also has a Twitter, which is kind of crazy to think that an eel has a Twitter. I couldn't find much about the account besides the fact that they kind of put out these weird sounds, like he's saying stuff, but it's sounds? I don't know. Definitely go check it out. Like, it's written out sounds. And I did find a quote from the center director Kevin Liska, if I'm pronouncing that correct. And they said that they combined electrical engineering and emerging business communication to give the eel a voice. So they're, on top of him doing this, they're also giving him a voice. And they said that they're doing this because they want to spark love and appreciation for unusual freshwater fish. And it is working because I am totally loving Miguel and 100% appreciating freshwater fish. I mean, what else could electric eels do for us in the future besides just lighting Christmas trees? This opens up like a whole new world to like science or what have you. Like, I'm so excited to see what comes from Miguel. Seriously though, if you're in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, go see this and tweet us. Go see this and go on Twitter and tweet us with photos or videos. Let us know that you went and saw this, because I'd love to see your interaction with this tree and what you think of Miguel and the tree itself. And I think that's a good time to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Alright guys, welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, we were talking at the beginning of this podcast about holiday weird news. Now, to bring it kind of back to the holiday weird news, let's talk about everybody's favorite celebrity, the celebrity that is always in the news, Kim Kardashian. Now, why is she in the news this time? And it's always kind of weird, but why is it weird this time? Holiday decorations. So she posted these photos and I guess Instagram videos or stories about these holiday decorations, which she is calling winter snow-inspired Christmas decorations. Now, she is being ridiculed for these decorations. Now, first off, I saw the photos and a little bit of the video of these decorations, and I see why. Now, she's saying that she DIY'd these, and I definitely think for somebody who doesn't really, I guess, do much herself, she definitely did these herself. Now, when you see these photos, I definitely recommend you look them up. But they are like these large white cotton cylinders that are just kind of resting against her wall. Some of them are straight and some of them are kind of irregular shaped, and they are definitely weird looking. Now, the video and the photo, the way that they're taken or whatever filters on them or what have you, to me, they kind of look like Halloween decorations. Now, these look like mummies to me. They do not look like whatever, I don't even know what she's going for. Now, these things are just strange. And she's being ridiculed because everybody thinks, and I do kind of agree on this, what people are saying is that they look like giant tampons. And I mean, they do. These things are ridiculous. I don't know what she was going for. There's no lights, no tinsel, no sparkly nothing. They're just these large, out of place, cylindrical cotton things. Now, I don't see this winter snow inspired anything. I do not see that. I'm not sure what she was going for, what anything is, and people are mad about this. People are just tearing her to shreds on Twitter and Instagram about these things. Now, as far as I could find, she had not commented on anything, but her fans are confused and upset. Now, I don't see a reason to be upset about this. They're not white and red, so they're not like upsetting me or anything, but they are definitely upsetting some people. They're just really, I don't know, people are ripping her to shreds that she put these giant tampons, and I guess people are mad because right before she put up these Christmas decorations, she had done one of her kids' birthday parties as this huge dinosaur theme and turned her whole house into this dinosaur themed thing, which obviously she did not do by herself. I mean, come on. Like, she didn't do that by herself, but I guess she was feeling in the spirit and decided to do these decorations and these, I don't know. Look up these photos. Like, trust me. Go take a look. I'm not a fan of her. I mean, let her do what she does. I don't care. But when I saw this, I was just confused on what it was supposed to be. Like, I had no idea. They are the weirdest looking things, and I really thought they were supposed to be like mummies. To me, they definitely kind of look like mummies, but without the sarcophagus or anything. Like, it's just the strangest thing, and it's really weird that she boasts that she DIYs this and does that and this, and then just kind of shows you that. I get that, like, people are expecting big and great things from her because, she's who she is and she pays people to do this and that, and she could probably have had somebody come in and make her house like this gorgeous whatever, but she did this. Like, I mean, to each their own. I don't see a reason to be upset about this, but I definitely think it is one of the oddest things that I've ever seen that's been called a Christmas decoration. I mean, I've seen some weird Christmas decorations. My mom showed me these weird blow-up reindeer that she found on Amazon when she was looking for little reindeer things for her yard, and they were supposed to be hugging, but definitely not hugging, if you get my drift. Like, I've seen some weird Christmas decorations, but I've also seen some great ones. I mean, my neighbors have these great, cute little reindeer stacked up on each other that are falling over and all sorts of stuff like that. But giant cotton balls? I just don't get it. It's so strange. If somebody can explain this to me, tweet us or Instagram or Facebook us. Let us know what you think this is, because it is the oddest thing that I've seen called a Christmas decoration. I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts on this because it is so ridiculous. Now, let's take probably a little short break. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you're kind of sick about hearing about these weird cotton decorations just as I am. And let's take a quick break and then regroup and talk about some weird decorations that you could buy for yourself.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC, Invicta FC, Bellator, and One Championship. We got the fights covered. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, we were talking about weird decorations just a minute ago. We were talking about Kim Kardashian, specifically her weird decorations, but I found some decorations online that you can buy. Like, these things you could go look up and buy them yourself. But they are definitely on the weird side. Now, first off is mermen. Like mermaids, but men. Now, not just any merman. Like, you can get a regular looking merman ornament, but you can also get sexy merman ornaments. And I'm talking like your calendars, like your sexy fireman and your sexy policeman and all that kind of stuff. You can get those as mermen and ornaments, and they come in sets. And that's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Like, I did not know you could do this, and if I came into somebody's house and I was looking at their like Christmas tree and they were covered in these weird sexy merman ornaments, I'd be a little confused, but also great conversation starter and hilarious. Now, moving away from ornaments, let's talk about inflatables. There's an inflatable you can buy that's like a hideaway. Now, the hideaway is a hunting hideaway thing. Like, it's an inflatable hideaway that's got Santa with a gun in it and an elf on the other side, and they are hunting reindeer. And the reindeer is hiding on the side of the, like, I guess, hideaway, and they're like looking to hunt reindeer, and it's actually kind of terrifying. Like, I personally love reindeer. Like, they're adorable, and this is a lot. Like, this is probably a little too much, but it's definitely something you can buy. And I mean, if that's up your alley, go for it, but it's a lot. Now, when I was looking up these things, there weren't a lot that weren't, ornaments. Most of them were ornaments, and the ones that weren't ornaments were very far and few between. Like, there's also a Taco Bell sauce wreath, like a wreath for your door, but it's made out of Taco Bell sauces. Yeah, like the packets. I don't know if there's actual sauce in there, but you can definitely buy it, and it's hilarious. It's probably something you could DIY too, but I mean, I don't know anybody who loves Taco Bell that much, but if you do, go for it, but not for me. And the other one that's not an ornament is a toilet seat cover. And the toilet seat cover is Santa Claus's face. And not only is it just the toilet seat cover, it's like a whole deal. There's a bath mat, or like a mat that's underneath the toilet, and it's like his outfit, and then a hat on the top. Like, it's a whole put together deal when it comes to this, and it's pretty hilarious. And also, if I went and was like, hey, need to use your bathroom, went into the bathroom and saw that, I'd be a little concerned about your choices in holiday decor. But, I mean, once again, to each your own. Like, I don't care. I'm not gonna do it. And I think it's really strange that this is a thing, and it looks kind of terrifying, like his face being on the toilet cover. I don't know. It's a bit much for me. But now that we're pretty much done. That's pretty much all, or like a good majority of what I could find that was weird and not the ornament range. Let's go. Oh wait, no, there is one more. The one, before we get into ornaments, let's talk about roadkill. Now, there is I guess it's like a wall hanger that you can put that looks like a road-killed raccoon, but around the edge of the raccoon is Christmas lights. Like, I don't know. I don't know if someone was like, oh, this is a great idea, let's just do some roadkill and put some lights around it. But it is concerning. Now that we're done. Now we're done with the non-ornament section. Let's talk about the ornaments that I found. Now, besides the merman, there's also an octopus man. Now, he is a merman, but instead of the fish bottom, like the mermaid bottom, it is an octopus. Like, he's a man just about as much as the merman, but the rest of it is like tentacles. It's very strange. Real weird. And I guess if you have the merman ornament set, you could add this guy and it would still fit your theme. I don't know. It's real weird. But the next one is probably one of the creepier ones that I found, and it is Nicolas Cage's face. Now, it's not just like a 3D Nicolas Cage. No, it is flat. Flat, like porcelain, made to look like his face is stretched out like it's skin. It's really creepy. And honestly, I also don't know somebody who loves Nicolas Cage that much to get an ornament of his stretched out skin face. Yeah, and not a fan. Definitely moving on. There is a fuzzy reindeer butt along in a set that you can get with a Santa butt. When you squeeze them, they fart. I don't know. I guess they're kind of funny for kids or whatnot, but it's really strange. The reindeer one's kind of cute, but then when you get to the Santa one, it's like his pants, but they're pulled down, and it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if that's the best gift to give somebody or the best ornament to have on your tree, especially if there's children around. Now, besides our reindeer farts, we also have ornaments for your beard. Now, if you've got a big beard, lots of men have big beards, it's fashionable, I guess. And I guess last year or the year before, something, glitter beards were the thing, where they put glitter in their beards. Real strange. But you can now get ornaments that you can hang from your beard, like your basic little ball ornaments that are porcelain. I think these are more plastic than porcelain because they're going in your face, but they're beards for your ornaments. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's real strange. Now, besides your beard ornaments, you can also get a Santa who is in the tub with Mrs. Claus washing her back. That is definitely not a kid-friendly ornament, and something that I would question the person who has it in their house. Be like, hey man, you doing okay? Because it's a little strange. Now, off of the more creepy ones, there's Santa doing yoga, which is kind of cute, but also kind of weird. And then you've got a lobster roll. It is a food lobster roll that is an ornament. Now, I noticed that you could get a lot of ornaments that are foods, like tacos and burritos and stuff like that, and those are cute, but a lobster roll is kind of strange. You could get bacon ones and stuff. I don't know. Lobster roll just seemed kind of out of the, I guess, normal foods that people would put on an ornament on a tree. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing, a weird thing. If it's normal, I'm not from a place that is near the sea, so I couldn't tell you. But when it comes to the ornaments, excuse me, that you can find, you can really almost find anything. There are a lot of dead gingerbread men or I saw dead babies that were killed by reindeer horns. Like, I don't know. You can find a lot of dead things, severed fingers, fake, of course. I don't know, ears and stuff that you can hang. And the ornaments are basically endless when it comes to weird. Honestly, you could probably make weird ornaments and make a killing off of them. Like an absolute killing with these ornaments. I honestly suggest that you make some weird ornaments and then tweet us with the pictures of your weird ornaments, because I'd love to see weird ornaments. I mean, I'm all for the weird. I've got an ornament that's a narwhal that goes on my tree. I've got some weird ones. Nothing that really matches. I'm not a matchy-match kind of person. I do a lot of ornaments that I just like. Lots of reindeer. Love reindeer. Gotta love the reindeer. But I definitely think that there are ornaments that go a little too far, like the Santa Claus in the bathtub, and, you know, you've got your beard ornaments, which how long are you going to have a beard ornament in for? Like, honestly, let's talk about this. If you're going to do glitter beard or whatever it is, beard, and you're going to put ornaments in your beard, are you going to be wearing this all day, or is it just for a photo? Like, is it even worth going out and buying ornaments that are specifically made to put in your beard if you're just going to take a photo with it? I don't get it. But, I mean, if you make those, good on you. You're making a killing. Because they were real high up on the things that people were buying. I found a lot of weird ornaments. I want to know what kind of weird ornaments you found. I've seen weird ornaments. I have a few ones. They're not to the extent weird of the ones that I've seen online that you can buy, but they're definitely on the stranger side. Like, I don't know. I have, like I said, the narwhal. I think I have some weird elves that actually clip on the tree. Like, they're not that weird, I guess. But I want to know what you guys think. I guess tweet us some weird ornaments. Send us some photos on Instagram. I don't know. Do whatever you do. Show us your weird ornaments. I love to see that. Or just weird decorations in general, because around the Christmas time, people get creative, and I love when people get creative and make weird things. Hence why we're talking about this now, like weird ornaments, weird decorations. Yeah, you kind of sit there and you're like, but should you have that? But at the same time, somebody took the time to be kind of really creative and make these ornaments and decorations that are like way over the top. I mean, I am so for it. And you can basically buy any ornament or decoration now. Amazon is a thing. That's amazing. Etsy is a thing. They'll make anything. I mean, really, you could find pretty much anything that you're looking for if you really try. You can find your favorite movie ornaments or your favorite TV show ornaments or music even, stuff like that. You can pretty much find it. I saw a lot of faces when I was looking, so if you really like celebrities, you could probably find a lot of faces. I don't know if they're all I know you can find like the 3D ones. I don't know if you can find like the weird Nicolas Cage flat ones for all your favorite celebrities. I didn't look that far into it. I saw it and I was like, this is probably one of the strangest things I've seen in an ornament or a decoration in general, is just a weird stretched out Nicolas Cage face. If you can find this photo, type in weird ornaments into your like Google search and it'll be probably one of the first things that pops up. Like, I recommend you go look at it. And if anybody has it, I want to see a picture, like for real. Send photos to our Twitter and Instagram, GSMC weird news _weird news on Twitter. Like, tweet us, let us know, because I'd really, really kill to see these weird ornaments that you guys have. And if you took any of these and you went and looked and bought them because you wanted your sexy merman ornaments or your Santa doing yoga or even your lobster roll, like, let me know. Now, let's take a quick little break and maybe we'll move along from some Christmas stuff and just go into some regular weird news. I don't know.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Right before the break, we were talking about weird Christmas decorations and a lot of weird holiday news. Now, let's take a shift another direction. I saw this story and there was no way that I couldn't share it with you guys. This is probably one of the most ridiculous things that I've seen. It is so weird. So, this happened in Canada, in Montreal, and this woman, Bella Kosian, I'm not sure if I pronounced her name right, probably not. She was stopped by an officer for not holding the handrail on an escalator. Now, she was at the Montmarais, Montreal metro station in Laval, Quebec, and this happened in 2009, and this officer stopped her because she was going up the escalator and not holding on to the handrail. Now, she thinks that this is ridiculous, like most of us would, and he actually, made sure when he said to go with her to have her hold on to the rail while she went back down the escalator. Really strange. But she completely refused to follow this officer after she had gone back down the escalator, saying that she didn't do anything wrong. And she was definite on that. She was like, I did not do anything wrong. I don't know what happened. And so she was detained because of this. And she was released with a $100, Canadian dollars, of course, ticket for dishonoring a sign, because there was a sign at the top that said, please hold on to the handrail. And so she got a $100 ticket for this, for not holding on, for disobeying this sign. And then on top of that $100 ticket that she got a $320 fine for obstructing an inspection worker. So basically, she got a $100 ticket for not obeying a sign, and then a $320 fine for obstructing this officer. Now, I think that, she was kind of in the right for this, but she was acquitted for it all in 2012. Reminder that this happened in 2009. So she was finally acquitted of it all in 2012. And then after that, she decided to sue Montreal's transit authority. Not only the transit authority, she also sued the city and one of the officers. Now, I assume the officer was the one that, stopped her and was like, hey ma'am, you gotta use the handrail, this isn't right. I assume it didn't, everything that I saw didn't really definitively say who it was, but they did said an officer, so I assume, and she was suing them all for $45,000. $45,000. And this was in 2012, right after that she was acquitted. In 2015, the lawsuit was rejected. And then in 2017, it was rejected again. But, okay, hold on to your seats. There's a but. The Supreme Court disagreed and said that the sign is a warning and not a law. So basically, they rejected it the first time in 2015 and was like, this is baseless, I don't know what you're talking about. And then when she took it back in 2017, they rejected it again, being like, no, this is baseless, this is totally not even worth it. But the Supreme Court came to a different decision saying, no, this sign is a warning. It's not a law. So basically, after that happened, she ended up being paid $20,000 in damages, which is around, so that's Canadian dollars, so that's around like $15,000 in US, but still, that's a lot of money. She was still granted 20,000 Canadian dollars for this, but it didn't have an exact date, so I assume that it was still in 2017 when this happened. But this woman in 2009 is stopped because she doesn't use the handrail. I see so many people in escalators not using the handrail, and most of them do have a sign that say it, but it's not really like right in your face that's like, hey, hold the handrail. But that was in 2009. And then finally in 2012, she's acquitted for all of it. So she's done and over with it, but she's mad. She is so upset. She is upset that, all of this happened and she had to go through all of this just to be acquitted, and she still wanted, something for her problems. $45,000 though is a lot. And to sue the transit authority, the city, and an officer for all that, that's insane. That is a lot. I don't even know what to say about that. But she did win, and I think that, honestly, she's in the right. And to the end, she was like, no, 100% no, they are wrong, I am right. This is the stupidest thing I could have been detained for. She was arrested for not holding a handrail. That's something that you don't see anywhere. You see stupid arrests here and there, but not holding a handrail? That's insane. And she still gets $20,000 for it. Which, good on her, but that's crazy. And I honestly feel a little bad for the officer, because he's just doing his job. But I do think that, they should let them know this is a sign. You should just be like, hey, for your own safety and everyone else's safety, you should hold the handrail because you're going up and or down this escalator. Show kids that this is a good thing, but you don't need to detain people for it. And yeah, she didn't act the best by totally not wanting to follow the officer and saying, hey, I refuse to follow you because of this and that, and there was no reason to get into some sort of unnecessary altercation over it, which did give her the larger fine, which, the $320 fine was still for obstruction on an inspection worker. So, she could have totally avoided that if she just would have gone with the guy and dealt with it. She could have avoided a lot of this by just doing that, but I doubt she would have gotten 20,000 Canadian dollars out of it if she did. I don't know. It's probably one of the weirdest things that I've heard of, and I really wanted to share it because I've never seen something like this. I've seen weird lawsuits here and there, but the fact that she was arrested over something that you see people doing every day when you go to an escalator, which I don't know how often you go, but when you do see, an escalator, 95% of the people on the escalator are not holding the rail. Most people don't even want to hold the rail because they think there's way too many germs, which there's germs everywhere. And those rails are kind of gross and sometimes can leave your hands feeling a little gross, so I get it. But, I don't see the reason for her being arrested. And it's just so strange to see somebody be arrested for something that you would have never thought you could get arrested for. It is probably one of the weirdest things I've heard of. Could you imagine just being this poor woman, poor Bella, and she's at, you're just trying to get on the metro, you're, I don't know, in your purse, on your phone. Assume most people, at least nowadays, would be on their phone on the thing. And some police officer's like, hey, you didn't hold the rail. You're going to have some serious issues. It's just something that you wouldn't think would happen. It's one of those little things that you're like, yeah, no, that's not a thing. Yeah, they tell me to hold it, but I don't have to. And it turns out you don't. According to their Supreme Court, You don't have to hold it. It's just a warning. It's just a caution. Hey, hold the rail. So, what do you think? This is probably one of the strangest things I've heard of. And the fact that she won is still incredible, but also, it all could have been avoided. Like, I don't even know where to start with this. So instead of starting, I'll take an end. Let's take a little break, and we'll be right back after the break, and we'll talk about some more weird stuff. Maybe about a lady who made her house a bar? I don't know. You'll have to stick around and find out.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, we just talked about a woman who basically sued transit and all sorts of stuff because she was arrested for not using the handrail on an escalator. Now, let's talk about another woman. This woman, Jane Tapper, got real sick of her husband sneaking off to have a pint at the pub, so she did something about it. Instead of just being angry about it and everything, she did something about it. She decided to build her own pub in the middle of her back garden. Now if you can look this story up, you gotta see the photos. This is incredible what she did. Now she was just real sick of him sneaking off, and she just got tired of it, so she decided to make a pub, which she appropriately named the Doghouse Inn. That's probably the greatest name for a pub you made specifically so your husband wouldn't go. Now, she said like that she named it that specifically so she could tell people that her husband was in the doghouse. I mean, come on. That's pretty much the best thing ever. Now, even though she decided to do this all for her husband and whatnot, it did not come cheap. This may be a cute idea, but it was not cheap. She had to pay £15,000 to level her garden, just to level it, and then another $2,700 for the initial build. And then, of course, she was trying to do things the cheap way by looking up ways to do things online, but she did want to throw in some money on some church pew seats. She wanted some expensive church pew seats, so she spent $100 on those. I don't know if she spent $100 on each church pew seat that she had, or if it was on the whole set, but that's still a pretty penny. And then on top of that, she spent $650 on a Space Invader game for the bar. Now, she says that it may be a man cave, but it's kind of become like a secret obsession because she loves to be able to host things, and her kids love it because her kids are over the drinking age. So they're like, oh, we'll work in this for you, but we get drinks all the time. And it's kind of a great thing for them. It's brought the family closer together is what she was saying. They say it's a happy place for the whole family. It's great, and they can bring friends, and she loves the fact that she can say that her husband's in the doghouse. And I mean, that's kind of the greatest thing ever. I mean, she literally built an entire pub in her backyard for her husband just because he was sneaking out to have a pint like every night. He just wanted to go out and have a drink with his friends or whatever. And she's like, you're not at home much, so now have a drink at home with your friends in this fancy, expensive makeshift pub that I made in the backyard. Like, that's crazy. This thing is also so cute. She says she spends money here and there just to make it, you know, better. Like, she's got this whole thing and how much she loves it. And I mean, I'm impressed because she's a nurse. I mean, she did all of this and she's a nurse. Like, more power to you, woman, because this is crazy. I mean, if I had that kind of, like, go get 'em attitude, I mean, not that I don't, but if I had that kind of willpower, I would be so happy. I would just be beyond the moon. I mean, it's brought their family close together. She's got a great hobby to do. He can drink at home with his friends. All the neighborhood loves it. The husband even said that it feels more like his local pub than his local pub did. I mean, come on. There is nothing better than that. That is the coolest thing ever. They can just have a night in with the two of them or them and their family and just have some drinks and hang out. Or they can have people over and act like it's a whole bar. Like, this is probably one of the craziest things that I've seen. Would you do the same thing if you were this woman? Would you be like, nah, stop going out and getting a pint, stay at home, have a bar? Like, this is crazy. I really wish that I could do that. I also don't have that much space to do that, but man, if I did, that is probably one of the coolest ideas. It's also really cool to, like, take the idea of a man cave and smush it together with, like, a family hobby, I guess. I don't know if I'd call it a hobby, per se. Like, drinking, like, the drinking part, not the hobby. It's like putting together this bar and making it a bar. That's the hobby. I mean, she spent a pretty penny on this, but it seems like they're getting a lot of use out of it, and I assume, you know, maybe they do bring in people. I couldn't find anything if they brought in, like, other people and then charged them or not, but I'm pretty sure they probably do. This thing is obviously gone viral, so I assume that, you know, they do that kind of thing, but I couldn't find anything about it. I'd love to see it. I mean, that would be one of the coolest things. You just live in a neighborhood and they're like, oh, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. You ever want to come by the bar? I got one in my freaking garden. Like, come on. It's probably one of the coolest things that I've seen. Definitely look up the photos. I think the name of the article that I read about this was literally called Wife Builds Pub in Back Garden Because She's Sick of Husband Sneaking Off for a Pint. I mean, if you look that up and you see the pictures, she posted pictures of, like, the entire build process and then the inside of it once it was done, and it's probably the coolest thing. And it kind of gives you a little tip into, you know, maybe what you could do if you're looking to revamp that back shed or build a little bar in your backyard or even just a little hut or something fun. It's really cool to see. I really wish I had that kind of, like, willpower, but also, like, space. If I had that kind of space, that would be the coolest thing to be able to do something like that, honestly. Like, this woman is insane. This woman is great. This is probably one of the weirdest things I've seen. Take something bad and annoying, like your husband sneaking off, and instead of turning it into just another fight, you turn it into something to do together, and you make a bar in your backyard. Maybe that's a good dating tip. Maybe that's the good marriage tip, is just build a bar in your backyard and you'll get closer. Or something in your backyard and you'll get closer. I mean, maybe that's not the best dating tip. Don't take it from me. Listen to the GSMC dating podcast instead. They'll probably give you better tips than I do. But it is one of the coolest things I've seen and the weirdest things. I really wanted to share it with you guys because, what? Like, who does this? It's funny though, because her husband is actually an engineer, but she was the one who put it all together. It didn't say if he really helped in the process of, like, building it or not, but I assume he did, and the engineer part could definitely, you know, help in that way. I honestly think this is probably one of the coolest things I've seen, honestly. Like, this is probably one of the coolest things that somebody has done for somebody else. It's actually really sweet, and kind of great. I really think that you should check out the pictures. You should look up the pictures because it is insane. I'm going to take a little break, I think, after that whole story, and we'll be right back after that.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Alright, and welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, right before the break, we talked about a woman who built a bar just for her husband because she was sick of him running off to the pub every night. But now I kind of want to talk about something a little funny that I found when I was looking at all this weird news. So, in West Virginia, a business had called into the police, who also contacted animal control, because because some chickens were running rampant in their parking lot. These chickens were running crazy all around their parking lot. Now, the woman who called, her name is Brooke Preston. She had spotted the chickens, and I quote, "I saw chickens crossing the road. They hung out all day long." So she actually took video of this. If you can find video of this, it is so funny. There were police officers and animal controls just comically chasing these chickens around, trying to find these chickens and trying to get them out of this parking center. I guess they had been there for a few days. And somebody did say that they saw somebody abandon them on the side of the road, which is pretty sad, but at the same time, the whole thing ended up comical, and they did catch them in the end, but these officers are just chasing these chickens around, really trying to get these chickens, and it is probably one of the funniest videos that I've seen, and I definitely recommend you look it up. Thanks to Brooke Preston, who videotaped it all after she had called and contacted them being like, "Hey, these chickens are kind of tormenting our customers by running around this parking lot and jumping in front of cars and stuff." And she called, they came, and they ended up contacting animal control, who were helping them. And then on top of that, she videotaped it all so we could see it because it is hilarious. It is probably one of the funniest things that I've seen. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know about that because it is probably, it just kind of puts a smile on your face, makes you, gets you in a little bit of a better mood. But on top of that, let's go back to some of the topics we talked about. Christmas decorations. Now, I love Christmas decorations, weird and not weird. Weird are always fun because they're a conversation starter and also kind of just amusing. But also just great Christmas decorations in general are great. We talked about the guy who basically makes a Christmas wonderland for children. That is probably one of the best things I've ever heard, and really uplifting story, and I'm really glad that I was able to share that with you. Also, we talked about Kim Kardashian's weird tampon decorations. I gave you some tips on some weird decorations that you could get, but I wouldn't call them tips. I mean, you don't have to buy those. They're very strange. But We also talked about the aquarium that has the eel that literally just lights up this Christmas tree, depending on its, I guess, emotions, because if it's hungry or hunting, they're kind of dim and flickery, and if it's eating, it's real bright and fun. And I mean, that's one of the coolest things, because what we could do scientifically with that information is incredible. On top of that, we talked about the woman who was arrested because of her whole escalator. That's the word I'm looking for. Not stair. Escalator. The whole escalator, not putting her hand on the handrail, like that's something you'd never think of when you're thinking about, I guess when you're thinking about getting arrested. I don't know. But it is something weird, and I mean, she did win. Strong woman. Great for her. Could have been avoided. But then we talked about the great woman who built an entire bar for her husband, like the coolest thing ever. And then about these chickens. Honestly, this has been a real good podcast, and I've had a really good time hanging out with all of you, and I'm so, so happy you could be here to hang out, have a good time. Serious thanks to you for listening to the GSMC Weird News podcast, and honestly, thank you. Go check us out on social media. We are GSMC_Weird News at Twitter. And we are also on Instagram and Facebook as well. Go check us out. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.